27 male, and my wife, 31F, hit a rough spot and have been separated at home for almost a year now. It was largely my fault. After a big setback and my father's death, I fell into alcoholism and despair, stopped taking care of myself and neglected her when not emotionally abused her. Eventually she had enough, and after I refused therapy for the nth time, consulted a divorce lawyer and drafted papers. I signed them off right away, but she didn't, keeping them in her room. She knew I was in a hard spot financially, so she said she'd wait for me to come into my inheritance so I could move out, and then she'd sign and file for a no-fault divorce. Not from the US, in our country you can do this. After 2 months sleeping in my home office, I got sick of it and stopped drinking, dived into work and overall did chores around the house and helped her out. When she commented on my change, I boasted I was doing it for myself and not for her, and she agreed because while she wanted me out, she still cared for me. Over the last months she also occasionally asked me to sleep in the bed with her and not in my home office. Nothing intimate happened, but still she would spoon me. This until last evening. We had gotten closer and closer, especially over the holidays, and I told her that what I said was not true. I had changed and stopped drinking to show her at first, but then I really wanted to turn over a new leaf and be a good soon-to-be ex-husband. She went to her room and picked the divorce papers, setting them in front of me. She asked what we should do with those then, so I ripped them and she yelled out a big yes. And then hugged me. So, I guess we won't be getting divorced. Hooray? Oop, I will, thank you. I was so deep down in negativity that I couldn't see how I hurt her. To add, I may sound neutral/uncaring by the tone of the post, but I really didn't expect what happened, what I did and how she'd react. We had talked a bit previously about this, and all she said is that she was in no hurry to divorce as long as I was respectful and kept improving. I had a hunch she wanted to try and reconcile, but she was already being so generous to me that I didn't want to try and push my luck. And I admit it feels weird that we can be husband and wife again. I guess it will take some time after over a year as roommates. Oop, thank you. She was ready to go through with it because even if she loves me, she couldn't keep enduring me hurting both myself and her, emotionally and morally, and I think she was right to do that. It still feels weird to be sleeping in the same bed every night and be affectionate. We haven't been intimate at all during separation, and she hinted she wants to reconnect too on that level. Oop, you are right. I definitely need to learn to be more open emotionally, and I'm working on it in therapy. Also, when we hug or cuddle I admit to her that it feels a bit weird, but also pleasant and fuzzy. After so much time, she just reassures me that for those things we have all the time in the world. But she also said no hurry and take things at our pace. Eventually she had enough, and after I refused therapy for the nth time. Update 1. Hello everyone. I posted a week ago about what had happened the evening prior. After living separate at home for almost a year, my soon-to-be ex-wife wanted to reconcile, so I ripped the divorce papers in front of her, to her delight. However, soon after the realization that I had planned my whole new year around the fact I was getting divorced set in, and that the decision of reconciliation actually brought me uncertainty and anxiety. My wife noticed that, and we had a number of heart-to-heart about this. There was talking, laughs and even tears during those talks, tears of the good, liberatory kind. My wife rarely if almost never cries, she's the stoic type, but seeing her break into tears, sobbing how much I hurt her and she still loves me, was like getting stabbed in the heart. I realized the pain I caused her is still fresh and burning. She unloaded all the pain and turmoil I had inflicted upon her with my past behavior, and admitted she felt both proud and bitter about my changes in the last year. Proud because I turned my life around, bitter because I had accepted the divorce so quickly as if she was what was holding me back, and she wasn't worth my best self. However, she was also angry at herself because she was already reconsidering the divorce back in June, but didn't say anything or gave me signals because she feared I'd revert to my old behavior, or would rebuff her. In the meantime, I had started to renovate my father's old villa, well, more of a big house than a proper mansion, to move in this year, and gave her only breadcrumbs information about it, and she was both positively surprised to learn about all the work I am putting into it, and again a bit bitter that I didn't tell her anything and all my projects were designed without her in mind, as if she was just an already fading memory. The possibility of an amicable divorce has been brought up again, but she wanted 2 clear answers. 1. Was there another woman? 2. Did I actually stop loving her? The answer to both questions is no. I told her I did suffer about losing her in our marriage, but I didn't want to be the ex-husband who made fleeting promises, hounded her down and made a nuisance of herself. It's the least I could have done after making her suffer so much, and also thank her for her infinite kindness. I just worked, did my best to be a good soon-to-be ex-husband, paid my utilities and wanted to pay her a rent for the room she allocated me in her home, which she always refused even when I insisted. Eventually arrived the $1 million question, do we want this marriage to work? Answer, yes. It won't be easy and there's still a lot of work to be done. We agreed to take baby steps and I've already booked couple therapy for this week. I am already doing individual therapy, but now she'll be looking for individual therapy for herself as well. In the last week, we went on some quiet dates, walks and a short hiking trip. I also made a peace offering of sorts by asking her if she wanted to participate in my renovation project of my father's house, give her input and ideas. She was enthusiastic about it. She likes gardening, but her property has no garden and she makes do with the potted plants on the balcony, while my father's house has a large garden and a big plot of overgrown land behind it. She said we will be busting our backs but it will be worth it, and I think that working together on a shared project will help re-establishing our bond. So that's where we stand now. The road is still long and difficult, but I am hopeful. I wish to sincerely thank all the Redditor who gave me their insights, comments, praises and criticism. Yes, I took your advice and couldn't thank you enough for it, my friend. It brought out an enthusiasm I had not seen in so long. Thank you, but it's still too soon. Yes, it would have been foolish to think everything would have been fine right away. It's not like in movies where they make passionate love and are lovey-dovey all of a sudden. There's been distance for a year and hurt on both sides, and it will take time to heal and be close to each other again. Little changed in the last week. We had our first couple counseling session and her first therapy session. We laid down the framework for our marriage. Went out on some dates and overall spent quality time together. We still haven't been intimate. She tried to initiate once but I gently turned it into cuddling and talking. Another issue is that I have some difficulties sleeping in the same bed as her, not because I have something against her, but I'm so used in sleeping in my own bed that often I sleep 1 or 2 hours with her, wake up and head to my home office/bedroom and sleep there. I wake up earlier and fix breakfast for her. She's happy about it but mentioned once I didn't sleep with her. Do those things take time? I believe so, but I'm a bit scared I'm giving the impression I gave up on our marriage. I believe it will take months and lots of work to get back at how we were, while she thinks the process should be quicker and I'm being too hard on myself and her. I have been sober for over a year, and got sober after she served me divorce papers. She decided to try to reconcile last January, and although things have been not easy to say the least, we still sleep separately. I don't feel secure enough to have sex with her, and we do lots of individual and couple therapy. We somehow are managing. However, despite what she says, I can't get over the shame that I have been a useless and abusive drunkard and she probably remembers me as such, and the shame and guilt become unbearable. I work as a civil servant, in family services, ironically enough, and recently I got moved to the cabinet in the provincial government, even had a photo shaking hands with our Prime Minister. My wife picked this photo and put it on Facebook for everyone to see, writing how proud she was. I do think she genuinely believes this, and I'm happy, but I also think she's too eager to rug sweep the past and our problems aren't fixed at all. I still feel lots of shame and guilt towards her every time I look at her, and at a certain point even looked forward to divorce, but she insists I am doing all the right things, and if I love her, divorce would be something I'll end up regretting. I just feel we will never overcome this, and although many moments are happy and I do my best to give her quality time, cook her favorite dishes and get her gifts, I can't help but feel hopeless and even alone in my feelings. She wants for us to move on, but while for her it might be easy to forgive me, for me it's not easy to let go of the shame of what I was to her. My therapist says I have to deal with it on my own as I caused all this, and I agree, but I don't know how to move forward. Is there something I can do, or should I learn to accept this and live with it? Maybe with time it will get better? After all, a year sober is almost nothing. She had every right to file for divorce because of my alcoholism. She didn't deserve that. In the meantime I was sick of it, so I stopped drinking, focused on my career and on renovating my father's house. She wanted to reconcile upon seeing those changes, and I agreed. But now I'm realizing I had internalized the divorce in my life plans. I planned my new essay on life about it. I can't see myself being intimate with her. She tried a couple of times and I gently turned her down. As a gesture of goodwill I asked her if she wanted to participate in my father's home renovation project, and she accepted with enthusiasm. She always wanted a garden. Now I'm regretting it because that was supposed to be my retreat from the world and I will have to share it with her. I said all of this to her. She was upset but also understanding. In her opinion, part of the fault is hers. She never communicated about reconciliation and sprung it up on me, and as a result what should have been a happy thing became a source of stress and anxiety for me. My therapist and her are saying this is my depression talking, but I'm not so sure. Are we truly done? Update 2. I showed her the last thread. She's reading it on her phone. She said she already knew many of the things I wrote, including the comments about gem and flowers. She said if she knew the anguish a reconciliation so soon would cause, she wouldn't have offered it and is regretting it. She thanks everyone for the kind words and appreciations made towards her. At the same time she got upset because in her opinion I put things worse than they are, so either I exaggerated them, or I've been keeping my true feelings from her, and this is a big problem. For example, she says I'm not as cold as I'm making myself up to be, and that she's not as pushy as I make her to be, and in fact she's been giving me lots of space. She says I'm doing a weird self-sabotage here. She says I'm trying to get her to leave me, but it won't happen, and if I really want to end I have to do it myself. She doesn't agree with it, but if I want to move out she won't oppose it. She wasn't angry, just very numb. Things are not easy, but overall they are going well, both in therapy and everyday life. There's still some issues in getting intimate, but we are getting there. Sometimes though the shame and guilt become too much and I wonder why is she even staying with me? Maybe sunk costs? I do my best, little gifts, dates, cooking her favorite dishes, picking up chores, but to me it always feels like I could do more. Sometimes she notices this and says to take it easy. She says I try too hard sometimes and it comes off as artificial. She likes that now I'm all smiles, always shaved, well dressed and gentlemanly with her, but joke that sometimes I look like the president of her country of origin. I'm doing my best though, even at the cost of overdoing it. Oop, we are doing therapy, but so far it's still very early. I was very apathic about everything, so now I try my best to be enthusiastic about things. She usually likes it, but once I made a dance step, she laughed but also said what the hell was that? I have been sober for over a year, and got sober after she served me divorce papers. She decided to try to reconcile last January, and although things have been not easy to say the least, we still sleep separately, I don't feel secure enough to have sex with her, and we do lots of individual and couple therapy, we somehow are managing. However, despite what she says, I can't get over the shame that I have been a useless and abusive drunkard, and she probably remembers me as such, and the shame and guilt become unbearable. I work as a civil servant, in family services, ironically enough, and recently I got moved to the cabinet in the provincial government, even had a photo shaking hands with our Prime Minister. My wife picked this photo and put it on Facebook for everyone to see, writing how proud she was. I do think she genuinely believes this, and I'm happy, but I also think she's too eager to rug sweep the past and our problems aren't fixed at all. I still feel lots of shame and guilt towards her every time I look at her, and at a certain point even looked forward to divorce, but she insists I am doing all the right things, and if I love her, divorce would be something I'll end up regretting. I just feel we will never overcome this, and although many moments are happy and I do my best to give her quality time, cook her favorite dishes and get her gifts, I can't help but feel hopeless and even alone in my feelings. She wants for us to move on, but while for her it might be easy to forgive me, for me it's not easy to let go of the shame of what I was to her. My therapist says I have to deal with it on my own as I caused all this, and I agree, but I don't know how to move forward. Is there something I can do, or should I learn to accept this and live with it? Maybe with time it will get better? After all, a year sober is almost nothing. Oop, somewhat. She told me to get a grip in those feelings or I'll end up self-sabotaging and ruining everything. Update 3. 2 months later, things are going lukewarmly well. Talks of reinitiating divorce proceedings have stopped, and although we still sleep separately and have no intimacy, my issues, working on it with my therapist, we are doing well. Sometimes I feel I can't get over the shame that I have been a useless and abusive drunkard, and she probably remembers me as such, and the shame and guilt become unbearable, but then it passes a bit. Basically we are starting over, dating, doing bonding activities, I get her gifts and surprises. She admitted she thought things would go faster, but in the end agrees with me that after a year separated things can't just get back as before. She also says I am too hard on myself, but I think she's the one being too indulgent. But apart from those difficulties, we are doing fine. Basically we are starting over, dating, doing bonding activities. Oop, thank you. I have hope, but sometimes I feel like we are stuck or that we are delaying the inevitable. Although I feel like this only occasionally. Update 4. Things are going well, reasonably so. Still having issues in the bedroom, but I am working on them to try and be a good husband, at least on that aspect. Last week I received a work assignment in the capital of our country. It's a 2-month-long assignment and I'll be provided state housing. She is excited about this and already wants to pack her bags. I have my doubts about her coming along for her own sake. She has friends and family here, me not so much, cut them all off and not interested in reconnecting, her support system as a whole. She has reasons and loved ones to stay here, unlike me. She won't budge, since we are married it's her full right to come along, and since she has her own e-commerce business she can manage it remotely. Plus she wants us to get back home every weekend. I know better than dying on this hill, so I'll be leaving with her. That's it. Naturally I am always, cautiously and within reason, hopeful about our future together. Update 5. I couldn't take it anymore and I did not understand why I kept having negative thoughts about my wife and me despite things going well, and some of you got into my ear there could be something wrong in my head. So we got in touch with a professional, got tests done and found out my blood values were very screwed up. This led the doctors to speculate a chemical imbalance in my brain and prescribe me antidepressants. Not exactly antidepressants, they are mood regulators, they told me. Both my wife and I were hesitant about this, but I gave it a try and lo and behold, my negative thoughts disappeared overnight. I finally feel in control of my emotions, I feel that I love my wife, and I feel that things can and will get better. I was putting on a front before, but now I really enjoy spending time with her and make her smile. We started making love again, and no blue pill was needed lol, and we get back from the capital every weekend. We are turning my father's old villa into our private retreat and love nest. I did apologize for my unreliable behavior in the past months after she had extended me an olive branch. She said she doesn't blame because of what we know now, but I still think it's not a valid excuse. I should have sought medical help sooner. Now I can say, and mean it, that I'm happy and grateful my wife practically gave me a third chance, and I don't want to waste it. I want to make her smile every day and enjoy everything to the fullest. I guess this is it and you won't be hearing from me ever again. I just want to thank you guys for your inputs, opinions, advice and criticism. Prospera, ad astra. Oop, thank you my friend, I will. It feels like I've been on a very long hangover and it cleared up just now. Oop, thank you. I admit I am a bit afraid I could end up hooked on medication for the rest of my life, but doctors reassured me it won't be the case, and anyhow the priority is our wellness. Oop, you are right. I stopped drinking, but I never properly prioritized taking care of myself and my wife. This has changed now. Update 6. I know I said I wouldn't post anymore, but I just wanted to let you guys know that things are going better and better. My mental state is always good and my wife is always smiling. She's letting her creativity flourish in my father's villa garden. She has lots of projects and has already planted a lot of different flowers and plants. When we are there she just loves relaxing in the garden after a long day and sometimes even falls asleep there. For now we stay there occasionally, but we are thinking about moving there permanently and for my wife to rent her place. And it was a lot of fun to discover all the rooms in the house, explore the attic and the rest of the property. Wife says this is our slice of paradise and who knows, if things keep going well it would be the best place to raise a family. We travel a lot between the capital and our town for my work, and all the traveling makes us bond even more. We make little stops on the way and discover new places. Our love life is also fired up and we have done and experimented much more in the last months than all the years we have been married, and she's very happy I initiate much more than I did in the past. Overall, I'd say we are more than okay. Now on to second story. Dad's girlfriend is treating me like garbage. Friends suggest secretly recording her behavior to show him, but I'm worried it could backfire. I'm 20 male, and I was a former foster kid. I was never adopted before I aged out, but I was placed with Joe when I was 10, and we were long-term matched by the time I was 14. Joe's the only real family I've ever had, and I consider him my dad, even though the whole adoption thing never happened. When I first moved in with Joe, he was married, but his wife passed away suddenly when I was 12. That was tough on both of us, but we managed to get through it together. Now, Joe's been dating his current girlfriend, Sarah, for about 2 years. She didn't come over much, and when she did, it was pretty brief. But 3 weeks ago, she moved into our house because she lost her job and couldn't afford rent anymore. I don't know if she was always like this or if moving in has brought out a different side of her, but Sarah's been acting really strange. Whenever Joe isn't around, she completely ignores me won't even look at me when I speak, won't answer questions, nothing. At first, I thought it might be some kind of anxiety thing. But now it started getting worse. For example, when Joe's at work and I'm in the lounge watching a movie, she'll come in and start blasting TikToks on her phone or playing music, totally disregarding the fact that I'm there. When I ask her to turn it down, she just flat out ignores me. And it's not just the ignoring that's the problem. She started saying some pretty nasty stuff about me, too. She's FaceTimed her friend while I was in the room and talked about how lazy I am and how I don't contribute anything to the household. Yesterday, I was sitting on the sofa watching the new Deadpool movie when she came and sat across from me, FaceTiming her friend again. She started talking about how she and Joe are trying for a baby and how excited they are because neither of them have had children before. Those exact words. It felt like a slap in the face. I know Joe wouldn't have said something like that because he considers me his son. So, either she's making it up, or I don't even know what. I haven't told Joe about the things she's been saying to her friend because I don't want to mess up his first real relationship since his wife died. But this situation is seriously eating me up inside. I mentioned the situation to a few people, and a couple of them suggested that I secretly record her behavior when Joe isn't around so that he can see what's really going on. It seemed like a good idea at first, but when I talked to one of my close friends about it, he said that secretly recording her could just make things worse. He thinks it might make Joe feel like I'm going behind his back and could cause even more tension, especially if Sarah twists it to make me look bad. So, Wibta, if I secretly recorded her to show Joe what she's really like, or should I just avoid it altogether? I don't want to seem like I'm trying to sabotage his relationship, but I'm not sure what else to do. Update 1. I decided to talk to Joe directly instead of secretly recording Sarah. I thought it would be more mature, sensible, and non-confrontational to handle things face to face. My mindset was that if he didn't take it seriously, then I'd consider recording to show him what was really going on. When Joe got home from work, I asked him to talk privately in my room. He seemed a bit confused at first, but I made it clear that I wasn't trying to sabotage his relationship. I just needed to tell him that some things Sarah was doing were making me uncomfortable. I reminded him about how she ignores me and mentioned how she plays videos while I'm watching TV. But when I told him she said that he didn't have any children and that they were trying for a baby, he looked really upset. It felt a bit awkward, but Joe called Sarah into the room to talk with us. He asked her if what I said was true, and she immediately denied it. You could see from her body language that she was lying. I'm not sure if she just never expected me to say anything about how she's been treating me or what. Joe firmly told her that this is my house, not hers, and that while she's a guest here, she can't be disrespecting me. Things got a little heated, and in the end, she apologized to me, though it was through gritted teeth. I accepted the apology, even though I'm not sure it was genuine. After that, Joe asked if I was still comfortable with her staying with us. I said I was because I didn't want to break them up, I just wanted to tell him what was happening. However, she decided to stay at her friend's house for the night, which made the situation feel even more tense. I can tell Joe is really upset now, and I feel super guilty for making him feel this way. He insists it's not my fault, and we ended up having kebabs for tea, but even so, I can't shake the feeling that I've caused a huge fight between them. Joe went to bed early, and now I'm stuck feeling bad about the whole situation. I just hope that whatever happens next, Thin G's will settle down.